So hello there. Today we have ACT Party candidate for Mount Roskill, Rahul Chopra, with us at the Indian Newslink office. Welcome to the Indian Newslink office, Rahul. It's nice to have you.
Good morning, Daryl. Good morning, Nikita. Good to be in the Indian News Link office today, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. Would you like to introduce yourself for our listeners and viewers?
Yes, so my journey to New Zealand began in 2004, where I migrated as an international student, much like both of you, and then worked with ASB Bank for about 3.5 years before
Right.
completing a master's in public policy
Okay.
from the Auckland University of Technology, and that led to my first job in public policy research and governance with Parliamentary Services, where I've pretty much been employed with the members of Parliament in the various capacities for the
Yes.
past 12 years or so. Um, Before I became a candidate for Mount Roskill for ACT New Zealand, I worked with David Seymour, the leader of ACT,
Yeah.
as his project manager, driving his outreach within the larger Auckland region.
Yeah.
So that's been my background, that's been my experience that has led me to be a candidate now.
All right. So that's the reason why you decided to contest in this election.
Uh,
Or is there another reason why you decided to contest in this election?
Well, the encouragement came from our leader, David Seymour.
Yes.
He has always believed that he should aid development of his team, his staff. Our classic example is our deputy leader, Brooke Van Wilden.
Yep.
She worked with David for about 3 years on the euthanasia bill and a number of other projects within
Yes.
Parliament. And then she was also encouraged by David to be a parliamentarian. And of course, because of her capabilities, her skills, she's now the deputy leader.
Yep.
Uh, Much like Brooke, I too got encouraged by David. And in my capacity, like I said, as a project manager driving his outreach, um, I have connected David and the team to a large section of the Southeast Asian community, and of course, the larger Auckland community too. Um, of course, when you have somebody who's such a strong advocate of development of your career, development of your personality and your profile, you feel very positive and upbeat about that. And
Yep.
that's the reason I decided, yes, I want to be a candidate too.
All right. Okay. So, what are your priorities for this election?
Um, Mount Roskill as an electorate is no different to the rest of New Zealand.
Yes.
The issues of crime, the issues of cost of living, the issues of co-governance are affecting the residents of Mount Roskill much as they will affect any other part of New Zealand. I have door knocked for the past 3.5 weeks across the electorate,
Yes.
and I can tell you, listening to many of the retailers, they are unable to comprehend why they moved to New Zealand, because at the moment life is not easy for them.
All right.
Day in day out they are facing crime. If I tell you about a liquor store owner that I met about 2 weeks back,
Yes.
his experience is horrific. His experience basically will make you question, why am I in the line of business, and what else can I do to make sure I have my bread and butter on the table. Uh, this guy in 2022 was targeted by six, really heavy men. Uh, Yet he stayed brave. Yet he
Yep.
managed to shut the door on them, but they managed to escape from the back door. Now imagine you're sitting in your office doing your thing, and some or a group of people just decide to walk in and attack your bread and butter, attack your living.
Yes.
What will you do? This is one instance that happened to him. In the past year alone, he has faced 5 or 6 such instances. Another retailer I met, he has stopped basically to replace his front door from a plywood to an attractive, aesthetically pleasing glass door. And I asked him the reason. He said, I've been robbed 5 times, I've been ram raided 5 times. I do not have the time, nor the money, nor the insurance backup to do so.
All right. Yep.
If I come to you for the cost of living, we talk about economics and economists and whatnot. But for me, the simple or the basic lesson of economics came from a pizza store manager.
All right.
And because she was working in a job, I said, well, you must be very happy that your wages have gone up from $18 or whatever to the current amount that you're earning. And she said, I do not know if it ever benefited me. I said, how do you mean? And she said, well, the wages may have gone up, but so have my taxes. So has the cost of living in terms of paying for daycare for my daughter,
Yeah.
for my grocery bills. In the end, I'm $15 or $20 a week worse than I was when I was on maybe lesser wages.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the kind of stories that when you hear on the ground, they tell you that public policy that is being made by the current government is completely devoid of real world economics.
Yep.
If I talk to you about co-governance, I mean, New Zealand is a multicultural, multi-ethnic democracy. Yet we have a Labour Party who has had no business in imposing, a nation state to be bicultural.
Yeah.
They have not had a referendum on it. They have had no mandate from the people of New Zealand to do what they are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, um, how will you or anybody feel if you're treated any differently to any other ethnicity, where while you're working, you have skills, you're contributing to this country, you're paying your taxes, so you, David Seymour Act and I say we should be all be treated equally.
Yes.
And this stems from my very first interview that I had at the New Zealand High Commission before migrating. I said, why should I migrate to New Zealand compared to many other nation states that are equally willing to have me as a student? And the response was, we are an egalitarian, we are an equitable society. In the past, some time at least, I have seen that equality just drift away, slowly but surely. If we do not take pragmatic action via use of our votes, the chances of us losing that are very high.
All right. Okay. And so you just spoke about all the business owners in Mount Roskill who are having issues. What about the regular people of Mount Roskill? What have you heard from them?
So again, I'll refer you to my example about the pizza store owner.
Yes.
She is a regular person.
Yeah.
She's not a business owner who
Yeah.
has multiple investments. She has one job.
Yeah.
Earlier she was making 800 to 850 after paying her taxes. She is now reduced to 780.
Yes.
And that is much of what is seen not just in Mount Roskill but across New Zealand.
Yes.
People are struggling to pay their mortgages.
Yeah.
I mean, the current government will probably blame it that on international pressures, on what's happening in Ukraine, the war, the price of petrol, the price of dairy being less than what we anticipated it to be, etc., etc. But the reality is they have printed mindless money and that money has just been distributed mindlessly too, without any accountability.
Yeah.
What that meant is the Reserve Bank had to pull levers in terms of hiking up our interest rates. So if I were to talk to you about just my mortgage, that has gone up considerably from
Yes.
paying, I don't know, 4 to 5% in terms of interest rate. Now I'm sitting at between 9 and 10, somewhere between that. Uh, that has meant I do not have spare money to take my daughter out if I want to. I
Okay.
need to make effective choices so that I can run my household in a reasonable way. I have reasonable food on the table. I have reasonable amount to spend on some basic things in life,
Yes.
and that's just been the I guess pattern that we have come across in Mount Roskill, across Auckland, across New Zealand.
All right. Okay. And finally, is there any message you would like to send to our listeners and viewers?
Okay. I mean, the only message I have today is, if you care about New Zealand, if you care about an equitable society, if you care about an aspirational and ambitious New Zealand, then I urge you to Party Vote Act. We have the public policy, we have the leadership in place which can take New Zealand to basically a leapfrog situation where we are able to go and achieve our true potential. So once again, if you believe in real change, do Party Vote Act.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Rahul. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me again.
All right. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.